Hi, today I've got a very simple exercise that is really good for repeated everyday use if you're feeling scattered and uncontained and dysregulated and you don't really know how to come out of it or what to do about it. This is a really simple exercise that gives the nervous system a sense of support, containment, um, safety, sense of your own boundaries, creating space in yourself, and taking in whatever it is that you need a bit more of. So, a couple of steps to this exercise, and they're all really simple. The first one is you can do it sitting or standing. Whatever is going on, notice it first of all, just briefly. So, there may be something going on that you sense or that you're aware of that is part of this dysregulated state that doesn't feel helpful to you or that even feels overwhelming at times. So notice that. Notice how you notice it. What is it that tells you that you're in this state? Is it the kind of pace of thoughts, the discomfort or tension in the body, the general sense of anxiety levels, being up, anything like that? Just briefly notice it, and how will you notice it? And then go, okay, that's how I feel right now. Understandable. The nervous system has gotten into a place where it believes that how it's responding is the right response for the moment. And it may not be, but it believes it is. So we want to help it out a little bit. First of all, just notice the ground support. So if you're standing or sitting, it may be your feet in contact with the ground, maybe the back of your thighs, contact with the chair. It may be your sitting bones, your pelvis, or it may be even that you're having a sense of support from behind you through a chair if you're sitting. Wherever you're making contact with what's around you, you might even be leaning into a wall, so you can adapt it a little bit depending on where you are and what's going on. Notice connection with the ground, with surroundings in this really simple physical way of, let's say with the ground, there is that sense of gravity. There's something heavy in you that meets something else from underneath that's coming up to hold and support you. And really for me, that's the extra bit, that's the crucial bit, not just the connection with the ground, but the fact that it's supportive. So take a moment just sensing into where you're making contact with the ground, particularly, or whatever you're making contact with. And that there's something that's meeting you, no matter how you feel, no matter what's going on, that's there. And maybe you can tap into a little bit of a sense of you're not alone and you're supported from the earth. So even if we say it's just the ground, it's actually quite a lot. So notice that, and maybe something in you responds to that and senses a bit of a shift in some way. If it does, or if you do notice a shift, notice it. So really pay attention to what's changing as you're orienting to this support that comes from underneath. And give yourself a moment noticing that shift and what's different now. And then you might move on to containment. So you're wrapping your hands around your shoulders really firmly in a way that feels right, that feels comfortable. It can also change a bit. You can kind of give it a bit of a rub with your thumb or really a solid squeeze. And you can pull in together to contain what's going on, but you can also push out into that containment. So maybe your shoulders, your arms are pressing out while your hands pull in. So you've got this kind of inner pressure and outwards pressure. And just hold on. Whatever is going on, whatever is fast paced, this is contained. And you can do it for as long as you need to, but see if you can stay present with this containment, with this sensory experience of holding, containing. Might be a little bit more of a movement, it's kind of rubbing or squeezing. And the ground support is also still there. And from there, if you like, you can go more into becoming aware of your boundaries as a whole, your physical container, your boundaries of the body. So from this kind of self-containment hug, you can then start kind of brushing, and then maybe you notice, well, there's the rest of you. It's not just this area. So maybe you start just going with one arm, brushing down the rest of your arm. Just go, well, whatever is going on right now, whatever you're experiencing, you're in your body, even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes. And you can let your nervous system know you've got an arm, you've got a breastbone, you've got a container of whatever's going on. Might be the back of your neck is a good place to contact as well. You can always pause wherever feels like, oh, that's kind of containing, that's soothing, that's anchoring. Notice if there is such areas. You can also just stay there a moment. And then make sure you get around the whole body. So you're also going, you can still do that seated. I'm just showing, kind of brushing the thighs, back and front sides. Maybe even down to the knee and the lower leg. You might even give your foot a squeeze if you can get there. So that you feel like you've really let all the nerves in your skin know that you can touch them, that they're there, that that's where your body boundary is. And then again, just pause a moment, because afterwards there might be a bit of a buzz, there might be a bit of a redirection of awareness. So give yourself a moment to notice what's a little different. And then if you are sitting down, if you're already standing at the time, then you might let this next bit sort of pass. But if you are sitting down, feel your feet on the floor, and I'm going to move back a bit so I don't jump out of the screen. And then really slowly allow yourself to lean forward, set your feet into the ground, notice how the ground is supporting you to come to standing. And just stand a moment. And you could repeat this a couple of times. This can be really good when especially there's a lot of anxiousness. It's like taking a stand. It's like standing on your 2 feet, taking an action, standing up. It can also be good with restlessness or confusion, because it's letting your nervous system have this experience of taking a simple but empowered action. So maybe doing that a couple of times and then pause again. Just notice how it is to stand up. And then what you can do is just a little bit more of taking up space, taking up the space that's yours with your body. By, when you're standing, letting your feet sort of stretch the floor. So there is no visible movement, but it's like your feet are pulling apart on the ground, like they want to stretch the ground. And you start feeling the muscles and the soft tissue in the side of your thighs activating, the side of your hips even. And you just hold that activation. And you keep breathing. And these muscles really tap into boundary muscles, areas in your body that are really linked to holding our boundaries, finding stability through that. If you've got a wall near you, which I haven't got, you could add pressing your hands into the wall, pulling the wall apart a little bit, or pushing into the wall and just holding that tensioning. So you're creating again this sort of outwards pull with your upper body as well as with your legs, and keeping the space between you and your hands. Literally keeping something at bay. Being very clear, very strong. And keeping breathing as you're doing that is important. Just doing that for a moment until you feel, oh, my muscles want to let go. Then you let it go and you just again stand and just notice, how are you standing? How does the support of the ground feel now? How do you feel about your space? You could even have a little wander around, just walk around, testing it out a little bit. Do you stay spacious? Are you demanding your space? Are you feeling stable, stabilized, supported? You can look around and take in some things that give you a sense of safety, that give your nervous system a sense of where you are, and the things that are safe or supportive within that. Could be just some plants, could be space as in the sky, or trees in the distance, or beautiful colors on the wall. And then you just might do one more thing. You might just stay with that, whatever has changed. It doesn't take long, you can always repeat it. Or you might want to add one more thing, which is checking in with yourself, maybe hand on your heart, if that feels right at this point. Connecting to yourself and asking the simple question of, what do I want to give to myself, or what do I want to gift myself? And it may be love, it may be self-worth, it may be something around I matter, maybe self-compassion of, maybe I was a bit tough on myself, actually. I hear you, I see you, I understand. We're doing this together. And whatever it is you want to gift yourself, or that you want to acknowledge, is there a moment where you can, with this contact, allow a little bit of that in, gifting it to yourself? And that could be an image, or it could just be in that simple gesture of touching in, going, I connect, I value, I hear, I see. And notice again any shifts, because it's completely in your control to gift yourself these things. Does it feel okay to do? And it might just be brief, because if it's complicated or brings up a whole lot of other stuff, just go, okay, just briefly, this is what I would like to gift myself. Maybe for a moment I can. Or you can also just end at the standing in your space and leave that for another time. And yeah, this is a nice little routine. Shouldn't take longer than a few minutes, and regularly done could make quite a difference. So good luck.